So, what's in a name? Hi, I'm Angela, and for the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about toponyms. Now, you might think I'm talking about some sort of weird creature that might swim at the bottom of a pond or a lake or a small creek you might have seen. No, I'm not talking about a nymph, and I'm not talking about a topographical map, even though I know some of you are hoping that's what I'm going to be talking about. We're talking about toponyms. What are toponyms? And why am I talking about names? Well, a toponym is the study of place names. Now, as a geographer, you should probably understand that if we're using the word geography and we're talking about place names, then I'm in. So, what does this mean? It comes from the root of the Greek word. Yes, thank you to all those dead white guys. Topos, which means region, and where we get the word topography or topographical map. The list goes on. And the rest of the word onoma, or the word that we say, nim, which kind of sounds like the word name. And you'd be right. It means to name. So we're talking about how did we figure out how to name some of the places that we interact with? Maybe we don't interact with them, but hey, they have some sort of significance. Where did it all come from? We are not only talking about landscape, we're talking about earth features and cities, landforms, landmarks, and other fun places that we visit. These place names represent or root us, connect us to the place that we live, the places that we frequent. They hold meaning. So, for example, I like this map. It's pretty funny. It's called a literal map of the United States. I like it because it gives the names for what all of the states actually mean. So, if you go down here, you'll see that Texas, the literal name of Texas means friend. Florida, flowery Easter. California, mythical island Khalifa. Oregon, Indian River, Oregon. Washington, first president. We knew that. Some are very mystical. Kansas, people of the south wind. Hmm. Or if you're just looking to be pretty hip, let's go to Iowa. After all, this is the place. Well, and if you're wondering about how we should all be talking, maybe we should all head to Illinois. Because after all, that means speaks normally. Hmm. Then, of course, we get over to the eastern seaboard, and you can get an idea of, well, we've got a lot of connections back to the original colonial connections. So, New Hampshire, meaning Hampshire. I don't know about you, but I would really like to head to place of the small stream or place of the Aztec god. Hmm. Then we have places like North Carolina and South Carolina, named in honor of King Charles. Georgia was named in honor of King George. Then you have Maine, called Mainland. Here are a few examples of how places were named. Toponyms also refer to a geographical entity or any general name for any place. So this could mean a place that humans, that we've built. Stadiums. Have you ever noticed how some stadiums used to have names and now they're all turning into giant organizations? That's a toponym. Let's take, for example, this map that displays the territory ceded by Mexico to the United States after the Mexican American War. And yes, the Mexicans lost. So they gave over this giant green chunk of land to the Americans, where Today, Los Angeles, pretty sure, is in the United States. Think about some major cities, landmarks, and other geographical names associated with the history of this region. Well, let's take a look. We've got San Diego, we've got San Francisco. The capital of California is called Sacramento, named after the sacraments because the Spaniards were Catholic. You have an amazing mountain range called the Sierra Nevada, which means snow covered mountains in Spanish. Think about other locations like Arizona and New Mexico. Yeah, I still get some Americans asking me what happens when they go to New Mexico. Do they need to take their passport? You think we should tell them? Not too sure. One of my favorite place names represented from the foundation of the state of California, being first Spanish and then Mexican and now American, is the original name for the city of Los Angeles. And guess what? This is it. Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Ángeles de Porciúncula. I said that really well, didn't I? Chosen by the Spanish as their site for their main city, Ciudad de Los Ángeles, or as we know, Los Angeles, means City of the Angels. And man, when they arrived there, it was. There was a beautiful river, there were fish, there was a bay, there were mountains in the background. It was located at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains and in between the Los Angeles, San Gabriel, and Santa Ana rivers. There were good soils for planting, water, and access to the sea. Could you think of anything better? I know I can't. Then we have place names that were decided by the flip of a penny, aptly called the Portland penny. It was an American copper penny, and it was used during a coin toss. Coin toss? We're talking about the Super Bowl? Hmm, no. We were talking about the choice to make the city of Portland, Oregon name. How was the name decided upon? Well, in 1845 in Oregon City, two developers, Pettygrove, who was from Portland, Maine, and Lovejoy, who was from Boston, Massachusetts, were hungry to name a clearing that they had built on alongside the Willamette River. Pettygrove retrieved a penny from his pocket, and they agreed on a 2 out of 3 contest. If Lovejoy won, he would have named it Boston, and if Pettygrove won, he would have named it Portland. So I guess we know who won. Hmm, can you imagine 2 Bostons? Or you have the significance of people making an imprint and having their name associated with a location. And not only that, but that name changing. Take, for example, the urban mountain peak in Phoenix, Arizona. Formerly known as Squaw Peak, this peak was named Piestewa Peak after Lori Ann Piestewa, the first Native American to die during the Iraq War. Peaks form a very huge part of city life in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona. There's also another peak called Camelback. You can climb them during the day. I don't recommend in the summer. Nonetheless, these peaks form the backbone and huge landmark features to the largest city in the state of Arizona. Then we have towns that are named for exactly where they're at. Take Remote, Oregon, named after the fact that it's remote, it's far away, and really not close to much. It's a town nestled in the Cascade Mountains, named for its isolation and not for that thing that we point at our TVs. It's also known for a very beautiful covered bridge. Take also, for example, the names of tribes of people or people who have gone before us and who once lived there and lived off the land. Take, for example, the Kalapuya River in Oregon that it's a tributary and runs through the city of Albany, Oregon. It's named after the Native American tribe, the Kalapuya. There's also a dorm at the University of Oregon named after this tribe of people as well. How about the changing of city names? Take, for example, the city known as Bombay in India. And in 1995, the current ruling party decided to throw off their British colonial shackles and rename their beloved city Mumbai. So in 1995, Bombay changed to Mumbai. Also, the city of Calcutta changed back to Kolkata. Now, how about landmarks? Sometimes we decide to name things interesting, something interesting. Take, for example, this concert venue in Los Angeles, right on the edge of Koreatown, located at the corner of Western and Wilshire. Well, you put Western and Wilshire together and you get Wiltern, named after the two streets that merge right where this concert venue sits. Take, for example, how we have taken people's names and changed street names. So in 2005, the city of Portland decided to take its beloved Southeast 39th Avenue, a major street in the southeast of this city, and changed it to Cesar Chavez Boulevard, a beloved gentleman who worked very hard for the Mexican people, for Mexican independence, for farmers' rights, and for immigrants in the United States. So now it's time that I ask you, what's in a name?